Welcome everyone to Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show on Rumble.com.
The clock strikes 8, the morning light is dim, another day begins, the choice is looking grim. But don't despair, don't you start to pout, there's one place on the dial where they sort it all out. The theme song hums, the kettle's on the boil. It's time to trade the silence for a little morning toil. Sip that strong black cup and find a comfy chair, 'cause Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show is back on the air. Oh, we're sipping strong coffee and the mood is terse, talking about the daily affairs of this whole universe, from the headlines screaming to the whispering wind. There's no topic too twisted, no thread left unspun. We'll open up the Bible for a little golden truth, then pivot to the shadows of our conspiratorial youth. It's Grumpy's Coffee Talk, where the facts might get blurred, but you'll always leave informed, or at least kind of stirred.
Yeah. Stirred, disturbed, who knows? Stirred, disturbed. One of them. You'll leave one of them anyway. I'm not sure which, but welcome back. You found yourself in Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show again, where we are sipping strong coffee provided by Honeybee Cigars. You can go check them out if you want to. You've got that information. Anyway, a good morning to the Ride or Die guys at the Cigar Loons podcast. Them's my other two partners in crime. You can catch us live on Tuesday nights. Rumble, YouTube, Instagram. We're around different places. 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 on the West Coast, and midnight in the UK. I may have blew that, I don't know. But anyway, whether I did or I didn't. Welcome back for the midweek show. What we gonna look at today? Well, you just don't never know. But we're gonna take a look at this whole Artemis, the Artemis rocket thing. Artemis II. Well, see, it's still on the launch pad. Actually, they might have took it down by now. I don't know. But either way, there's been a delay. It's not going to the moon. Nope. Nope. Not going to the moon. There's been a delay. Now, like I said, I try to keep things neutral as possible, even in the hardest of times. But this is one of them subjects that I have a habit of being a bit opinionated on. Just saying. So I'll try to keep my wits about me. I'll try to behave myself. But anyway, we're gonna look at this thing. I'm Grumpy. I'm your host here at the Coffee Talk Show. I'm the one that don't have any sense. Yeah, I'm the one that deals with this. Yeah, for the last few days, man. For the last few days, eyes of the world have been looking at that launch pad 39B over at the Kennedy Space Center. That's way over on the east coast of Florida, over on the peninsula. Over, that's where it's at. The Artemis II rocket, that big massive 322-foot tall space launch system stood ready. There it stands. 4 astronauts, including Commander Reed Wiseman, Mission Specialist Christina Koch, were in quarantine. Their bags packed for a 10-day journey around the moon. That's right. It was supposed to be the moment that we've waited for over 50 years for. Yeah. Yeah. See, we've waited over 50 years for humans returning to deep space. Deep space. But as of yesterday, February 22nd, which won't be by the time you see this, but anyway, February 22nd, 2026, the countdown stopped. Yep, brought that rascal to an end. Countdown is on pause. NASA, your favorite organization, has officially announced that the March launch window is closed. Now, see, like I said, we lost this technology and everything. You know, the guy admitted that you just don't have the technology anymore. You lost it, but you're already back up to speed enough, to be able to calculate and know that you've missed the launch window. I don't understand. I mean, it's only February 23rd today, I believe it is, or 23rd when I'm recording this. But either way, I mean, you're talking about you've already calculated, and you know that you've missed the March window, and March ain't even here yet. Y'all some funny people. I know. You can talk down to me all you want to. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm and I don't know nothing about rocket science. So yeah, I guess you can talk down to me with your big words, and explain it to me. But if you can't explain it to where I can understand it, what good is it? Anyway, the rocket, they rolling it back to the vehicle assembly building. Yep, they gonna roll it back to the garage. And today we're gonna take a little peek at why. We're gonna break down technical glitches from persistent hydrogen leaks to the new helium flow issue, and discuss that broader tension between political pressure to fly and the absolute mandate of crew safety. Let's get her in the air. Don't worry about them. It might blow, it might not blow. You never know. Even if it does, 10 years later, you're still going to find them walking around somewhere. Done proved that once, too. Yep. Look into that one. This is a neutral. Yeah. Some of them didn't even change their names. That was sick. Anyway, this is a neutral look. And neutral look at why the moon is gonna have to wait just a wee bit longer. That's what we're gonna look at. Why's it gotta wait just a wee bit longer? Well, let's just take a look at the anatomy of a delay and see what that looks like. To understand where we are, we've got to look at what just happened. Last week, things actually looked great. Yeah. NASA completed what they call a wet dress rehearsal. I ain't sure where they got that, but anyway. Basically, a full practice run where they load the rocket with super chilled liquid propellant. They reach T minus 29 seconds. By all accounts, it was a success. But space flight has a way of hiding its problems until the very last second. Uh, Helium issue. Over the weekend, the engineers detected an interruption in helium flow. Mm. Within the rocket's upper stage, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, or the ICPS. Now, helium, it isn't the fuel. Of course, it's not the fuel. Helium lifts balloons. Helium, lighter than air. Helium. Why would you need that? Hmm. Oh, man. Sorry. I was just thinking again. That's something.
Shocked.
Yeah, and you should be. If I'm thinking, you should be shocked. Let me tell you. Now helium isn't the fuel, but it says it is the silent partner of the rocket. Of course it is. It's used to pressurize the fuel tanks and purge the engines. Without it, the fuel doesn't move and the engines don't fire safely. Well, I'd have to get a better explanation of how that process works. But anyway, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman recently confirmed, and taking a very hands on approach, confirmed that this isn't a fix it at the pad kind of problem. Of course not. To get to the valves and the filters that might be causing this blockage, they have to roll the entire stack back to the hangar. That's it. Now then, now let's look at the hydrogen ghost. And it comes right on the heels of the great hydrogen hunt. Must be special space talk. Throughout early February, teams were chasing leaks in the liquid hydrogen line. Hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe. It finds every microscopic gap. Now, while NASA eventually raised the limit of allowable leakage, yeah, why not? Moving from a 4% concentration to 16%. Okay, so you're going to allow 4 times the concentration leakage. That sounds like a plan. Gee, Bubba. The optics were clear. This machine is temperamental. Yeah, okay. You can call it temperamental. So what you're saying is you're gonna take this you're gonna take this nice dragster out here on the track and you're gonna pull it up on the line and that engine's purring like a kitty and you've got it set at 4% nitrous oxide boost and you're gonna stroll that purring kitty up there to that starting line. But before you get up there, you're gonna make this last minute adjustment. and you're gonna turn the nitrous oxide up from 4% to 16%, 4 times the nitric oxide boost. Now I just wonder, well, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, I don't know. I mean, come on. We'll just raise the limit of leakage, acceptability. That way we won't have to do a whole lot. I mean, come on, people. Uh, you know, uh, whenever a mission like this gets delayed, there's two different sides that form on this thing, man. One side, you got the schedule advocates, man. We got to stay on this. This is the schedule. It's got to be. This is it. See, this was originally scheduled for 2024, then 2025, and now we're looking at least April of 2026 at the earliest. And they argue that every delay is costing millions of dollars in standing army costs. The price of keeping thousands of engineers and contractors on the clock while the rocket just sits idle. Well, why are they all on the clock? Why not just the people on the clock where the problem exists? The hydrogen people. Why not just them on the clock? Why is everybody else on the clock? I mean, that'd just be something I'd ask, if I was on that board, but I'm not on boards, things of that nature, so I don't get to ask questions. But then again, you've got geopolitical pressure too. The lunar space race with China. This is where I came in a while ago talking about earlier when I was talking about we had to look superior in the Olympics, because we're in this space race thing again. So we have to look like we're the superior race again, like we did back in the '60s when we rushed this thing we're talking about now. But but then on top of trying to look like we're winning a race, we've also got to at least look like we're trying to keep a safety mandate, and it's better to be on the ground, they say. That's what they say. It's better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than in the air wishing you were on the ground. I mean, I can understand that. But I'm thinking that I'm thinking that it's better that y'all not even be trying to do this because you're not going anywhere anyway. You just you're gonna hit the ceiling. You're gonna hit the roof. But y'all don't listen to nobody. You just keep shooting stuff at it. You know. But I'm sure now that with Blue Beam and a few other projects and programs, I'm sure y'all will come up with something. I mean, uh, that's just a common pilot's proverb that I just read you about being on the ground wishing you're in the air, and in the air wishing you're on the ground. That's old pilot's proverb. But NASA, it's like a blood written rule for them. Artemis II is the first time in Orion life support systems will be tested with humans. That's right. Be the first time that the Orion life support system will be tested with real live humans. On Artemis 1, the heat shield eroded in a way that engineers didn't expect it to. NASA spent all of 2025 investigating that, The decision to delay now because of a helium valve is a signal. Tells us that despite the billions spent and the years of waiting, the agency is unwilling to gamble with the lives of Wiseman, Glover, Koch, and Hansen. Well, I just would say they're just, they're not willing to gamble with their lives. So I'd be thankful for that. Like I said, you're not going nowhere, no way. You're going to hit the wall. So now, what happens? We got everything rolling back to the garage. We've missed the March window, so they say already. So, what we do now? Where we at now? What's this timeline thing? Well, the rollback is a slow process, getting it back to the garage. They got to move it 4 miles, all the way back to get it to the garage. Once they get it back there, the technician's going to spend the first week of March destacking or opening access panels to find the blockage. That's the first week of March. Now, repairs and testing in the VAB, which is, I guess, that's their 3-letter word, 3-letter thing for the garage. With a late March potential rollout back to pad 39B. And April 2026, that's when the next viable launch window opens. So you're not even, you don't even need to place your bets or talk about it or worry about it until sometime in April. But April rolls around and they're still going to do this. Place your money on it ain't going nowhere. It's going to hit the ceiling. That's where you need to put your money. You're going to bet on it. But now, what do I know? Anyway, there is a domino effect here. In case y'all didn't know this, I'll let you know a little secret. There's a domino effect. Artemis III, the actual moon landing, is currently penciled in for mid 2027. But Artemis III depends on the data from Artemis II. Now, if Artemis II doesn't fly until May or June, the lessons learned period, that pushes the moon landing further back also. So we have to consider the hardware, the Starship HLS, which is Human Landing System, being developed by SpaceX, and the Blue Moon Lander by Blue Origin. Well, we got them all, don't we? Yeah. They're also in development. It's kind of like a space race among our own guys, ain't it? Yeah. Even if the SLS rocket is ready, the landers, well, they got their own mountain of testing to climb. And, there's all kinds of moving parts in this. So, I ain't real sure that, like I said, they ain't ready for all this. They ain't going nowhere. Now they've delayed the launch. Even if they would have launched it, they'd have hit the roof. They ain't going nowhere. But, what do I know? I'm just the moderator here. I just sit here and talk to you guys. I know nothing. But anyway, I give you my closing thoughts on things as far as that goes. Right now, it's real easy to feel frustrated. We live in an era of instant everything. You know, we want it all right now. You know, we want that Apollo moment for our generation, you know, and we want it now. I don't know. I was around back in the Apollo moments, so they was part of my generation then. My generation. And better watch out. I'm dating myself. Anyway, as far as age goes, I'm not dating myself, so don't y'all get weird on me. Uh, man. Uh, perhaps this delay. You know, they saying it's a sign of a healthy program because they've spotted flaws, they've spotted mistakes, they've spotted things that need to be taken care of. Safety, you know, and they're going with all that, and that's fine. Uh, but it's easy to feel frustrated because, you know, we went in 1969 and Nixon called delay free on a rotary phone. We bounced that signal around just right and got it there and back. But then we lost all that, and we're having a bit of a struggle. You know, in this day and age of technology that we live in, we're having a struggle to get what would appear to be a much more simple task to complete than it would have been in 1969, you know, in a soup can and a rotary phone. But that's beside the point. The fact that if it appears that they're being safe, great, fine, love it. You know, be safe, keep people safe. Um, now, um, like I said, back in the '60s, it was go at all costs, or it seemed to be. Uh, it led to triumphs, but it led to some tragedies. Apollo 1. Then, you know, in 2026 now, though, see, we have these sensors, data, and we have transparency to see the flaws before they become catastrophes. You know, they explain to you all how the electronics work, all of how the computer systems work. You know, the interruption of a helium flow, it sounds like a minor technicality, but in the vacuum of space, there are no minor technicalities. There's only working and not working. Okay. And NASA chose working. You know, that's just as simple as it is. And that's where we're going to leave it, brothers and sisters. I've tried to be neutral, even though you know where I stand on this. I've tried to bring it to you as neutral as possible so that you could understand NASA's explanations of why the moon shot has been delayed. Uh, as of today, we're looking at an April launch, like I said. That's when the next window opens. Astronauts remain in high spirits, continuing their training in Houston, you know, in the pool. Uh, engineers in Florida are doing all the heavy lifting as usual. Florida over here carrying everybody. If you want to track the rollback in real time, NASA's live stream of Pad 39B is still running, though it's a bit lonelier today than it was yesterday. Just saying. This is Grumpy, man. I'm your host uh on this crazy ride that we're on called Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show. I appreciate you being here. And if you like to have the fun that we're having, you like the topics, you got one of your own, send it to us. If you like us, like what you hear, subscribe, follow, share us around. We like getting those numbers up. We like seeing new people come in.
Don't forget, visit YouTube at Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show on YouTube. You can also catch him on Rumble at Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show. But please go and hit that subscribe and follow there on
Yeah.
YouTube, and go and follow Grumpy at Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show on YouTube.
Well, he didn't have his camera on. He must be needy. Anyway, but yeah, that's it right there, Sin. I didn't even pay for that advertisement. It just kind of came with the podcast. Not saying you'll get one with your podcast, but I get them with mine. Special subscription. give, give the circus animal a banana and he'll perform. It's that easy. Dude, hey, look, this Grumpy, I love you. Abba Father loves you. But if he's not driving your bus in 2026, you might want to switch seats, because you fixing to get some potholes. This year is just getting started. Yeah, and it's going to be a fun one. We're going to the top, one way or another. If you want to ride, jump on the bus. It's Grump. I'll catch y'all Friday. I think it is. Anyway, bye.
Thank you for watching, and make sure to follow.
So if you're feeling puzzled, if the world feels like a game, tune in to Grumpy's talk show and never be the same. The coffee's running out now, the show is at its end, but come back tomorrow morning, my skeptical friend. Yeah, Grumpy's Coffee Talk Show, that's the word.